Yo,
Yeah.
you were delayed. You didn't know when I was gonna
No,
start. Let's start it over.
no,
Let's start
that was intentional.
over. Well, we're gonna keep this in there. Blink, 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 blink. Hey, that's her new system now. When I get on her nerve,
I I love to whistle. I learned how to whistle when I was a kid.
I
So
heard you
that
coming
is
up the
really
steps.
my happy place.
I heard you coming up the steps whistling. She was like, "Get my mind adjusted."
Anyway, no.
Funny.
Okay.
All right, y'all. So let's go. What I was thinking, man. So I was looking at we got a couple controversial things coming up, but I never truly knew what the meaning of Marxism. I've seen it on people's books. I've seen it on people's YouTube channel, and I never knew what it meant. I was like, Marxism, what does that mean? So I found a video that's like 4 minutes. It's like a 4 minute video of a brief introduction of Marxism. That's all I need. Just give me the salt and pepper of it, so I can. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it deals with the elitism and the superior being.
Well, let's get it.
Let's go.
Let's see.
Look at my headphones. These can't be the new ones.
Job, please.
These cannot be the new ones.
Every time I buy her set of
Every time you buy me a set?
Yeah.
Please.
I can wear my same ones and don't get the scruffy ears.
But how many have you broken, babe?
One.
And how many have I broken?
None.
0. Exactly.
Yeah, because you naturally break the ear pads. Hey, y'all. So my ear pads be looking all nice and pretty. After my wife gets them, after about 3 or 4 tries, they look like a old dried up, dry rotted tire.
I don't know what it is. I think you switched. I think those are the new ones, and his started getting rough.
No, unfortunately not. I'm sorry,
but
sugar
what
baby.
is it? What is it? He says he thinks it's like the stuff I put on my hair and maybe it's on my ears.
I think it's chemicals. I think the chemicals mess with it because I see where it sits on the hair. If you're putting hair gel or any of that stuff, and it tears them up.
Mousse, yeah. And,
Yeah, it eats. Oh, you got mousse in here?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
Hair mousse and conditioner.
Because what it does, that padding is so thin.
And it's another product that I use. I can't think of it.
I mean, it's so thin that it just dries and just cracks.
Mm-hmm.
So after you take it off, it dries on the pad and then it just cracks.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know what we're going to have to do? You just won't be able to hear.
No, put some cap covers on there. Don't they have covers?
Some cap.
Ear pad covers?
Some ear pad. Some ear pad. All right, let's go. You ready?
Let's go. Curious Classroom. Okay.
Marxism is a theory based on the ideas of the philosopher Karl Marx.
Mm-hmm.
Marx was born in Germany in 1818 and died in London in 1883. He's buried in Highgate Cemetery in North London. Marxism is what is known as a conflict theory because it states that society is in conflict with each other, and Marxism claims that this conflict is between the rich and the poor. Now, Marxism, as we understand it as sociologists, is a political and economic philosophy, a view of the way things are now, and suggestions as to where society is headed. The danger is that we start to view it based on what we understand about its relationship to communism and the politics and oppression of the old Soviet Union. Marx never saw communism in this way. He saw it as liberation and as a leveller, a way of creating a fairer society, and of a way of getting the best out of all people, not just those with money and power. To really understand Marxism, we need to start with its opposite,
let's start with the opposite.
Capitalism represents the type of society you and I live in today. In Marxist terms, it's an economic system based on private ownership of the means of production. What this means is that our society today is based on a few people who own factories, businesses, shops, and other corporations. These corporations aren't owned by the people who work for them, the employees, or jointly by the employees and the owners, but by the owners only. Marx was formulating his theories during the Industrial Revolution, a time when Britain and other countries were going through a very dramatic change. The old feudal system, when lords of the manor owned the land, meant that the ordinary people had freedom and rights to all land. It was held in common. When the government passed a number of enclosure acts in the 1700s and 1800s, ordinary people no longer had the right to live on this land, and many of them were forced to pack up and move to the towns and the cities, which were beginning to grow due to the increase in factories and textile mills. Whereas previously people were free to keep their own animals and grow their own crops on common land, once they reached the cities they had to find work in the factories, in the employment of the factory owners. The work was hard and often dangerous, and the pay was very poor. Many factory owners didn't want to pay high wages because this would mean less profit for them, so children were often used as cheap labour. The Industrial Revolution promoted a capitalist way of thinking, what we call a capitalist ideology, and also created two distinct groups of people. The factory owners, who were middle class, Marx called these the bourgeoisie, and the workers, or working class, Marx called these the proletariat. Marx was on the side of the proletariat because he saw them as being treated unfairly by the factory owners. Not only did Marx see them as being treated unfairly or being oppressed, he also saw the system as one that tried very hard to make sure that the poor stayed poor and the rich continued to get richer. So Marxism views capitalist society as being based on a system that encourages inequality, because the rich will always need someone to do the work they don't want to do. It's called a conflict theory because society is in conflict. The proletariat.
I mean, I'm going to say I look like the video's close to an end, but I was going to say, there's certain concepts of this I like, the ability to, you own and the people work with you and you own. I mean, but I guess the downside of it is working somebody to the death for pennies. So that's the downside of Marxism. I'm assuming that's what I'm getting from this little 4-minute clip. You get what I'm saying?
That's capitalism.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what this country is built on.
Right. That's what. Yeah. It's so cool how they draw this. It's just like so.
It is. It is
to have that artistic ability.
Versus the bourgeoisie. However, Marx also suggested that at some point the working class would realise that they had the power to change things. Through education and personal development, some members of the proletariat would begin to understand the system better and devise ways of changing it. Marx believed that such radical change could only come about through revolution, when the workers rise up and overthrow those who were treating them unfairly.
That's when unions start.
In place of capitalism, a new system would be established in which all people were treated equally, and all the factories and businesses were owned by everyone. In other words, they were communally owned. Marx called this system communism.
Okay. Looks like that's the end of it.
Yeah, I was just... Communism was not equal to capitalism. Communism, they had more control over what you did.
So do you think that was a good video? Or do you think
I think it was partly. I agree with it partly.
Yeah, I think
I don't agree with it wholeheartedly. So we need to go and find some other views
of
how they're explaining it.
Right. Because I'm thinking for the 4 minutes that it's going to chalk up everything that I need to hear. But to me, it still leaves some questions unanswered that I have. And but I'm sure the creation of unions came off because of the structure of Marxism.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, it dealt with elitist mindset, the superior being, which is, the rich and poor. But this ideal is that, so I'm going to read what dictionary.com has. The system of economic and political thought developed by Karl Marx, along with Frederick Engels. Especially the doctrine that the state throughout history has been a device for the exploration of the masses by a dominant class, so the rich. That class struggle has been the main agency of historical change, and that the capitalist system, containing from the first the seeds of its own decay, will inevitably, after the period of the dictatorship or dictatorship of the proletariat, be superseded by a socialist order and a classless society. So he wants to overthrow, it sounds like, So that's what it's saying. He wanted to overthrow that mindset and make it classless
Okay.
and by a socialist order. But I won't necessarily say I agree with the socialism, because that's the group that we've learned recently is more for the government doing things, more for the people versus the people leading themselves.
Let me tell you how ignorant I was. Socialist would always sound like person.
I'm the ruler.
No, I was thinking social. We social. We get social.
Really?
I was like, I never understood the term or the word, man, because I've never really been into the politics and zoomed into it. But this gave a okay. This still left me unfulfilled.
It matched up. Maybe you just need more and to zoom
More,
in.
yeah, and more scenarios and things like that.
But it does match up, because at first I was like, well, no, maybe that's not what I. But maybe I had a misunderstanding of what I thought Karl Marx stood for. I understood what the class systems, but he was wanting to alleviate it. So,
well, back in the 90s in LA, when they used to call people Mark, you a Mork. What a Mork? Does that mean you classless individual? That Mark Buster? Classless. Does that what that mean? You Mark? Mork?
Boo.
I wasn't doing that to laugh. I'm just curious.
Just saying, babe. I don't. Well, boo. No.
I wasn't even doing it trying to make nobody laugh.
For sure. Well, interesting. Well, we need to go and do another video.
I need more. I feel left a little empty. Like when you open up a bag of chips and it's only a little bit at the bottom. So it's.
But you get the gist of it dealing with classes.
Yeah.
And the bourgeoisie were the middle class. So
Bourgeois.
We're dealing with the upper class that should be, the class systems should be alleviated and be a classless society.
Right.
Leaning more towards socialism.
Okay. I want to see some more. I want to see more in play, like more examples. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's do more content. If y'all want us to do more of this, let us know.
Like, comment, subscribe. Don't take a nose dive, but comment in the section below. Subscribe.
Yeah. 2023 is the place to be.
Okay. Let me go ahead.
Be running.
Let me go ahead and hit the end button.